Hi everyone, Donut here. Today's video ends in one of the most chaotic shootouts that I think I've covered in a long time. I'm talking magazine dumping, people diving for cover, and a suspect spraying rounds across a California parking lot. Before we get there, we're going to talk about a guy who defended himself but somehow still got thrown in prison. Seems like there's a lot of that going on these days. We're also going to talk about a brutal and totally unprovoked attack that happened on a public transit system. A lot of that going on these days too. But first, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor for this video is Stopbox. This thing is hella cool if you own firearms. If you own a handgun, it fits in one of two frustrating categories. If you need it in a hurry, it's locked away, or either it's left out where someone can come by and just pick it up. If you have kids, these things are especially useful because kids' brains are basically oatmeal. They're dumb. Stopbox solved the problem with a pretty great solution. The Stopbox Pro. It's got a push-button locking system that gives you fast, reliable access to your firearm in seconds. Watch this. Boop. Boop, box is open. You don't got to worry about keys. You don't got to worry about batteries or electronics. It's all mechanical. With Stopbox Pro's mechanical keyless system, it allows for fast, secure access without the risk of fumbling for keys when every second counts. As I said, there's no electronics, so you don't got to worry about batteries. You can fit all sorts of cool stuff in here. Full-size staccato with a donut engraved on it, 5.7 with a light, or even a P320. I'm in danger. I like to travel a lot, which means I like to take my firearm with me. Guess what? The Stopbox Pro is TSA compliant. All Stopbox products are proudly made in the USA, and they have a wide range of other innovative products, like the vehicle safe, chamber lock, and other essential gear. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order by using the code DONUT10 at StopboxUSA.com. Not only that, you can get buy one, get one free on this Stopbox Pro. All you gotta do to get that 10% off and a buy one, get one Stopbox Pro is go to StopboxUSA.com and use the code DONUT10. Let's take a look at our first story. This one's gonna piss you off quite a bit. May 30th, 2023. Kew Gardens, Queens, 2 a.m. A 67-year-old retired doorman was walking around near his house when some guy suddenly decided that he needed to mug him. The guy who's doing the mugging just happens to have 15 prior arrests. What? People with tons of arrests being let out of jail to go around and mug other innocent people? That never happens in large cities like New York. Security cameras show the suspect sprinting right at the retired man, even after the senior citizen pulls a revolver on the suspect. Old man defends himself, shoots the guy. Even the DA claims this is self-defense. Case closed, right? Nope, because this is New York City. They didn't charge him for the shooting, mind you. They charged him for the firearms in his home. They hit him with so many gun charges that he faces up to 25 years in prison. So he took a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his damn life in prison, but now he's still facing 4 years for owning the one thing that allowed him to survive a brutal robbery. His attorney even said, if this city had its affairs in order, he'd be getting a plaque, not a prison sentence. But look at the bright side. I fucking guess he gets to spend Christmas with his wife. They're letting him have a little bit of time off before he has to go to Rikers. And get this, the DA tried to block his little bit of time off because I guess holiday spirit is now a threat to the public. Here's a snippet from a report I found that has a little bit more to say about this case. Foner took the deal Thursday with the understanding that he'd be sentenced to 4 years in prison at his sentencing date, January 14th, his attorney said. Until then, he'll remain at liberty and will be able to celebrate Christmas with his wife. Judge Tony Semino ruled over objections from the Queens DA's office, which had pushed for him to spend the holidays at Rikers Island. This is why some people are super nervous about defending themselves these days. The system keeps punishing, especially in big cities, defenders, people who look out for themselves and the people around them. The same system lets criminals and violent offenders walk free. Look at f***ing Daniel Penny. Dude almost got charged with murder for defending himself. Speaking of which, next story. While a 67-year-old man is going to prison for defending himself, let's take a look at someone who should have absolutely been locked up forever under the fucking prison. But he was given so many second chances, he practically has a punch card. Because meanwhile, in Chicago, Brandon Johnson's shithole, ADD break. What's going on with my favorite website, Hey Jackass, illustrating Chicago values? I hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. Let's see what happened in Chicago. According to my favorite website, Hey Jackass, which illustrates Chicago values, they have a turkey shoot weekend section, which in Chicago alone, final turkey tally, 5 killed, 13 wounded. You remember Mayor Johnson said in one of my more recent videos that whole mass shooting thing was an isolated incident, just trying to gaslight an entire city. We have one of the worst incidents I've ever seen on a train. Well, one just like this happened in New York a couple months ago. I guess it happens quite often in these big cities. November 17, 2025, Chicago, Illinois, 9:24 p.m. Picture this. There's a 26-year-old woman named Bethany McGee. This is This is her. She was minding her own business when a man walks over. A man with 70 prior arrests. 70, not 7, not 17. 70, 70. Dude steps on the train holding a gas can. Foreshadowing. It looks like he had a plan. This piece of shit approaches the young lady, douses her in gasoline, chases her through the train car, and sets her on fire while yelling, "Burn alive!" She is now in critical condition with burns to her head and body. And the worst part, this isn't even his first arson. In 2020, he set a government building on fire right before the governor was supposed to speak there. And what was his punishment? No jail, no wood chipper. This dirtbag got probation. He has 71 arrests, 13 convictions, previous arson, aggravated battery, knocking a hospital worker unconscious. And he was also out on pretrial before the attack on this young lady. Judges and prosecutors had every opportunity to keep him off the streets. Prosecutors asked to hold him before he set this young lady on fire. A judge overruled it and let him go. Now Bethany is fighting for her life. Even the feds said he had no business being on the streets. Chicago's mayor also called this one an isolated incident.
The opposite, actually.
This is exactly why the 67-year-old in our first story felt the need to protect himself. You can only really count on yourself in the end. And that brings us to our final story, a shooting. Police in California are having to deal with people like this every single day. And after the last two incidents, what we're going to watch is a perfect example as to why I think police officers don't get paid nearly enough. November 14, 2025, Hayward, California, 4 p.m. Dispatch gets a 911 call from a woman who had just left Burger King with her son. The woman and her son noticed a man staring at them. He lifted his shirt, exposing a silver gun.
Me and my son just drove out of Burger King, and a guy was looking at us weird, and he pulled up his sweater. And my son said, "He has a gun, Mom, he has a gun."
She immediately calls police and gives a description of the 40-year-old man. Officers roll up to the convenience store parking lot, and before they can even get out of their vehicles, the suspect decides to escalate the situation. Dashcam shows him walking towards the officers, then crouching behind a car and pointing that silver handgun straight at police. I mean, look at this guy, arm fully extended, eyes as far away from anything, as close to aiming as possible. Just a perfect example of as stupid as you can get. I feel bad for the guy behind the suspect. Dude's like, wait, I didn't agree to this. And then everything gets pretty loud.
I'm coming your way! I'm coming your way! Go for it!
The suspect fires. Officers return fire, naturally. One of the suspect's rounds even slams into a nearby Honda Odyssey, narrowly missing a woman and her baby. During the shootout, the suspect runs out of bullets, I guess, and decides to throw his gun at the cops. Once he stops moving, the officers move in to restrain old dude. This firearm was recovered at the scene. That is a high point. Beautiful. It's basically the firearm equivalent of the Craigslist used section. The suspect was taken to the hospital with, miraculously, a minor hand wound. He was treated, taken to jail. No officers were injured, no bystanders were hit, and in the end, there were just 3 officers who desperately needed a day off, and they were granted it. Internal Affairs is investigating it, DA is investigating it, yada, yada, yada. The officers are going to be cleared 100%. Then again, this is California. Good luck, boys. Dude is lucky as he walked away with a scratch on his hand. And that's going to wrap up today's video. Oh yeah, I got my Twitter back, so go over and follow me there. Head on over to donutoperator.com to get some super sweet merch. Subscribe to pepperbox.tv to see all my videos uncensored and a bunch of exclusives and all my friends' videos uncensored. Hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and until next time, please have a fantastic day.